Okay, so let's start with some news. We've got the FT reporting this morning that Kamala Harris, the vice president, has been setting up meetings with different members of the crypto contingent, different industry experts. Did you advise her on who to sit down with, or more generally, have you been speaking to her about crypto regulation?
I've advised her team. I mean, we had a roundtable with Anita Dunn that Mark Cuban and I hosted, and we said that we need to be the party of the future, the party of innovation. Bitcoin is about freedom. It's consistent with our agenda. It is used by people overseas who are dealing with authoritarian regimes. It was used by Navalny to be able to advocate for human rights. It's used against a hedge on inflation. And so our party should understand it, understand why it's important, understand why cryptocurrencies are important, and have sensible regulations about it.
And how has the vice president in particular, or her team more broadly, responded to the advice that you've been giving them on crypto?
Her team has been open, and we had this senior level meeting with Anita Dunn, and then we have more meetings with her team. And my hope is that they will make certain bold policies, that they will say, we support FIT 21, which many Democrats voted for, bipartisan bill. I worked with Patrick McHenry on it, to provide regulatory clarity. Here's what the SEC should do. Here's what the CFTC should do. Here's how we regulate it, but allow that innovation and jobs to stay in the United States. And they should overrule SAB 121. SAB 121 basically says that banks can't have custody of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies without declaring the liabilities. And it's a discriminatory law, and I think goes too far. But I think taking some concrete measures will show that our party is the party of the future and doesn't want to rest on our laurels, but wants the future of financial innovation here.
When do you think we might hear from the vice president on this issue?
Well, she's got a lot on her plate. She's got to pick a running mate. She's got to prepare for the convention. But my view is not just with the vice president, it's with the Democratic Party. I, with my colleagues, said that the DNC should have as our platform that we are the party of the future. We recognize Bitcoin is about freedom. We recognize cryptocurrency as decentralizing opportunity for Americans and for the world. And by the way, we aren't an isolationist party. We want to make sure that we're dealing with people around the world. Well, around the world, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is very popular, so America should lead in it.
Last question on the presidential race. I've been speaking to people on the ground here, and they are skeptical that the vice president could pivot to a softer approach to regulating the crypto space given the tenure of the Biden administration. What would you say to people who are worried about what crypto looks like under President Harris?
It's not about softer or more, it's about smart regulation. We need the type of regulation in FIT 21, which is here's what SEC is going to do, here's what CFTC is going to do, but we want Bitcoin here, we want cryptocurrencies here. And what I would say is look to a younger generation of Democrats, people like me, Wally Nichols who's here, Richie Torres, Josh Gottheimer, Darren Soto. We're pushing this party to be the party of the future and party of innovation.
Now, you mentioned that you're joined by Representative Nickel here at this event. We are seeing more senators, more congressmen involved than ever before at Bitcoin, this annual conference. And my question to you is, are you lonely? There are just two of you here, and there are the vast majority of lawmakers who have joined us are Republicans. And why did you join us, and why aren't more of you at this event?
I joined because I was invited, and they liked some of my advocacy, but I don't understand why it's partisan. Being against Bitcoin is like being against cell phones. It's like being against AI. It's like being against laptops. It's a technology. Have thoughtful regulation on the technology, but it's a technology that is appreciated from about $10,000 to $80,000. You've got people like Michael Saylor, who's made billions of dollars on that appreciation. And I don't want all that value and wealth being made outside the United States. I want the United States to be part of that wealth generation, and for people who have assets to have that opportunity here and to have those jobs here. And that should be a bipartisan message.
And going back to a point that you made a moment ago, that it shouldn't be a softer approach, it should be a smarter approach. There was this open letter to the DNC asking for a softer approach on digital assets. What do you think of that letter?
Well, it was for a smarter approach on assets. It was the FIT 21, the Patrick McHenry bill says, here's what the SEC should be regulating. Here's what the CFTC should be regulating. Very few people are for pure libertarianism. It should be regulated, but there needs to be clarity. And the problem has been that there hasn't been that clarity, and it's been policy based on executive lawsuits. That's not how you make policy. We need to look at what Europe has done, what other countries have done. I mean, the Europeans have a clearer regulatory framework. And we should say that financial innovation is going to be here.
We saw 70 Democrats cross the aisle to vote through Fit 21 in the House. Where else can we see Democrats lead in crypto regulation on Capitol Hill?
One, we can lead in our explanation. We should say Bitcoin is about freedom. Bitcoin is about supporting human rights. We should say cryptocurrency is about making it easier to have payments across the world, making it cheaper. It's our interconnection with the community. So that should be the Democratic messaging. Then, in terms of actual regulation and investment, we should say we want clean energy to drive Bitcoin mining. Anywhere there are Bitcoin mining, we want it to be solar. We want it to be wind. We want energy storage. We want it to be using the waste. We should be for thoughtful regulations that say speculation needs to be regulated by the SEC, but commodity trading should be regulated by the CFTC. And we should explore having Bitcoin as a part of our assets because it's going to appreciate potentially dramatically, and the United States should be a beneficiary of that.
You represent Silicon Valley. There's a lot of overlap there with people in the crypto community. And there's been this growing narrative that there's been this shift to the right in Silicon Valley. The fact that, a mix of tech investors and other practitioners in this space have started to move toward the Donald Trump camp. Meanwhile, I have NBC News reporting that in fact has been a reversal in the last few days, now that it looks like the vice president will be the front runner in terms of representing the Democratic Party in the presidential election this November, that she's looking to win back some of those undecided voters in Silicon Valley. Do you feel that this perception of this shift to the right in the area that you represent is overblown?
I do. The information, which is widely read in Silicon Valley, shows 2-to-1 people are still Democrats. But there has been some people who view the state as an obstacle who have shifted to the right. But most people view the state as having given birth to Silicon Valley. Kennedy's call to the moon led to NASA purchasing semiconductors. That gave rise to Silicon Valley. We are the party that is investing in clean technology. We are the party with the Chips and Science Act that I helped write that is investing in semiconductors and AI and quantum computing. We are the party that's investing in the next generation of national security. So we need to make the case that for us to lead in innovation, the government has to have a smart role. That's how we did it in FDR, that's how we did it in Kennedy, and that's what Biden has done, and we've got to make that case.
Okay, so you still think that there's a strong Democratic community within Silicon Valley?
I don't just think that, I know that, because they've been supporting the president, and now they will Vice President Harris 2-to-1, according to the information and polling that has looked at Silicon Valley's base.